Greetings, Wake Up Hebrews coming to you with another video. We hope that all is well with you and your families. We have decided to put another video together today, and it's entitled The Authenticity of World Rulership. The Authenticity of World Rulership. And the reason why I put this video together is because of all the different things that are happening all over the world, all of the unrest, the prices that are going up, and all the food processing plants that are catching on fire, magically at a time where everything is upside down and arsonage is going on with our food processing plants. And so much is going on, so I decided to put this lesson together that's called The Authenticity of World Rulership. The authenticity of the authors of who's running this thing, who's behind the scenes running this whole situation that we have today. And I have my thoughts, I have my situation that I believe that whoever it is that's running things. But first, I want to give a disclaimer in this lesson that we have. I want to give you a disclaimer, and the disclaimer has to be, this video contains information from the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. It is said to be false by the authorities of media. It is said to be false. So I have to give that disclaimer in order to be able to show this video, because I don't want to be accused of giving any misinformation, but I'm going to give you the information as it has come to me. So I have to give you that disclaimer to be able to feel free to show you this video or this lesson that I put together. So what we're dealing with is the authenticity of the world rulership, or the things in the world, the way the world is going on. And I would like to underscore it with, we ought to obey God rather than man. We ought to obey God rather than man. Now, there is something called the Zeitgeist. Any of you all that are familiar with that, there is something that they call Zeitgeist. And it's an age of deception that's going on. The Zeitgeist is a taste. This is a definition that I pulled up. They starts off as the taste, outlook, or spirit characteristic of a period or generation. So the Zeitgeist has to do with the spirit of the age. We're entering in the spirit of the age where everything is supposed to coincide or coexist together up under this main rule, or this main ideology, and it's governed by these four things. It's governed by science, it's governed by technology, nature, and sustainability. This is the whole network of the Zeitgeist movement that is taking place. And what I found out about the Zeitgeist movement is that they are trying to annihilate all religions. They want to discredit all religions. And I believe that the Zeitgeist is a religion of itself. So it has to eliminate all other religions in order for this terminology, or this theme or concept, to be received worldwide. So they want to do away with all of the religions of the world. And, one thing about it is when we as Hebrews, we are different from the other people that are worshiping and doing different things. We have a different concept. We have a different idea or approach to our worship. So I just wanted to bring that out. Before I get started, I want to play for you a clip, the introduction of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. And the reason why I resort to it, because it's a fascinating concept or document that has been put together And to be false, it has a lot of things that are very intriguing. And this is why I want to share it with you. So I'm just going to give you the one-page summary because it's a exhaustive writing, and we don't have time to go through all that. And I believe this video is going to be a little bit longer than what I expected it to be because things just kept coming up as I began to look into this, and I want to try to talk through it, narrate through it, the concept of this protocols of the learned elders of Zion. So here it is, the one-page summary. Check it out.
The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion in Modern English. A one-page summary. Goyim are mentally inferior to Jews and can't run their nations properly. For their sake and ours, we need to abolish their governments and replace them with a single government. This will take a long time and involve much bloodshed, but it's for a good cause. Here's what we'll need to do. Place our agents and helpers everywhere. Take control of the media and use it in propaganda for our plans. Start fights between different races, classes, and religions. Use bribery, threats, and blackmail to get our way. Use Freemasonic lodges to attract potential public officials. Appeal to successful people's egos. Appoint puppet leaders who can be controlled by blackmail. Replace royal rule with socialist rule, then communism, then despotism. Abolish all rights and freedoms except the right by force by us. Sacrifice people, including Jews sometimes, when necessary. Eliminate religion. Replace it with science and materialism. Control the education system to spread deception and destroy intellect. Rewrite history to our benefit. Create entertaining distractions. Corrupt minds with filth and perversion. Encourage people to spy on one another. Keep the masses in poverty and perpetual labor. Take possession of all true wealth, property, and especially gold. Use gold to manipulate the markets, causing depressions, etc. Introduce a progressive tax on wealth. Replace sound investment with speculation. Make long-term interest-bearing loans to governments. Give bad advice to governments and everyone else. Eventually, the Goyim will be so angry with their governments, because we'll blame them for the resulting mess, that they'll gladly have us take over. We will then appoint a descendant of David to be the king of the world, and the remaining Goyim will bow down and sing his praises. Everyone will live in peace and obedient order under his glorious rule.
Okay, now what I want to give you the knowledge of and to tell you the reason why I think this is something that is not very, very hopeful for this situation that they're trying to create. It's too much deception. It's too much going on that will cause them to fail in what they're trying to do. You can't impose all of these immoral laws on the population and then turn out to be good. So whoever devised the scheme, it has to fail according to the word of God. Now, getting back to the Zeitgeist, the Zeitgeist is designed to destroy your faith and in any one true Yah, one true God, or whatever. They want to try to annihilate that thought altogether. And then that will be a place for them to put something in position for you to trust in. If you was listening at the narrator that was reading from the one-page summary, at the end, he came up with appointing someone to be the leader. But what we're going to do, we're going to just look at this concept. We're going to break it down to the lowest terms and just take a look at it and see what we can get out of this whole thing that they're imposing upon the population. Now, first of all, the first thing I want to point out is that they said that Goyim are mentally inferior to Jews. The Goyim are mentally inferior to Jews. Now, somebody may be confused to what a Goyim is. A Goyim is anyone that is not a Jew, or really, we are the true people of the Most High. So anyone that is not a Hebrew is considered a Goyim. But because we strayed away from the Most High and developed a lot of the habits of the Gentile, we kind of fit into that place of being Goyim. But we're not awakened. As we become more and more awakened as time goes on, then we will not fall in that category. We will cease to resemble what a Goyim is. So a Goy, if you look at it, a Goy is equal to a Gentile or a non-Hebrew. So that's what a Goy is. So that's the first thing he said, that they were mentally inferior to Jews. So you always have to downplay an individual when you want to take advantage of him or to get rid of him or annihilate him. You have to degrade that individual, that person. So they're inferior. Okay, the Goy is supposedly inferior to the Jew. Then they can't run their nations properly, and we see some of that in our politicians. It is true, because they're trying to run the nation without the laws and the commandments of the Most High. So you can't run it properly. So this is opening the door for all of these other things to come in and to cause all the havoc in the nation. So since they can't run their nations properly, what we have is our national leaders have failed us, and it's time to hand the power over to global institutions. This is what they want us to do, is to fall prey to this concept that our leaders cannot run the nations properly, so we want to give everything over to someone else. All right? So we have this one person that's supposed to stand in and give rulership and leadership to everybody else, all the neighboring countries around the world. And then they want to begin a future together. But this person that they're laying the carpet out is none other than Antichrist or Satan. This is who they are really trying to introduce to the world, is Satan. Then the next thing that they have that they want to do, that was found in this document, was they want to abolish governments. They want to get rid of governments all over the world. And look like everybody's fallen in place to being able to get rid of the governments, because a lot of the governments are going bankrupt. And we're going to get into that a little bit further into this lesson. A lot of the nations are just, upside down in finances, and these people are lending governments money in order for them to be able to be sustained. So what we see is they want to abolish governments, destroy governments. That's what they want to do, the corporate government. They want to shut them down so that we'll have to look to them. Okay, and then they want to, you hear that statement of defunding the police all the time. You hear that a lot. That's a form of government that they want to abolish. And then they want to replace them with a single government. Doesn't that sound familiar? You want to replace the government with a single government. What would that be? I believe that would be none other than a one world government that the Bible talks about so plainly. And I believe that the Great Reset is the prelude to setting up a one world government. All of these meetings that they have is putting us on the road to becoming a one world government, the whole earth. And then what they also said is that this would take a long time. This would take a long time and will involve much bloodshed. This is what I'm just kind of going over some of the points and the steps and guides that will lead them into their final desire. It's going to take a long time. So this setup that they have is a long-term goal. You know, you can plan long-term goals and do it little by little along the way. So it's going to take a long time, and a lot of this started with Columbus. Christopher Columbus was on the scene, and they disputed and couldn't get along. They couldn't run their situation like they wanted to. So really, I believe it was an undisclosed situation and a plot to be able to expand from England and go all over the world with this concept. And Christopher Columbus was one of the first ones to come over here and exploit America. So they got funds from the Queen and were able to get this thing started. And they say it's going to take a long time and it's going to cause much bloodshed. But when we check our history, we see that they utilize the slaves to be able to accumulate all the wealth that they have today. Slaves created old money. Slaves were the first thing traded on the New York Stock Exchange was slaves. So this was the start of this long time that they were speaking of, starting off with the slavery and taking over the money so they can even be controlling the banks. And then they entered into wars. You know, you got these wars that are going on, and wars have to be funded. So they need funds to be able to keep these wars up. So you had World War I, World War II that came into play in order for them to get this stuff going. What's the next thing that they were talking about? They had the other incident that it's going to take a lot of bloodshed to do this. The French Revolution, and a lot of bloodshed was shed to get to where they are trying to get. So we're in a situation where all of these things are happening, or have been recorded in history. All right. Then they made the statement that it's going to take a long time, and then in order to accomplish this, they were going to have to place their agents everywhere. The agents and helpers had to be placed everywhere, all over. So you had secret people, that spies and different things had to be placed in different places all over the world, and taking over countries, creating illusions in order for them to be able to get across what they had planned to get across. And then the next thing that they decided that they were going to do, that they were going to take control of the media. Take control of the media. So that sounds pretty right on what's going on. Take control of the media. So you don't know what to believe, what's true. We don't know what's fact. We don't know what's fake unless you have been awakened. So they are propagandizing the media, taking control of it. All right. The next thing that they decided to do was to start fights between races and classes and religion. Start fights between races, classes, and religion. And when we see that all the time with all the fights that are starting and the unrest that is taking place all over the world, somebody is engineering this. I believe they have the guy by the name of George Soros that was doing a lot of things that was causing havoc and reaping havoc among the people. So we have all of these race riots, and I believe a lot of these shootings are engineered by the MK Ultra, people under mind control and going in and shooting a lot of people in public places and different things, people under the influence of that MK Ultra. And sometimes people look at things and hear media, just like I believe the Gentiles feel like they're being replaced, and a lot of them are unable to handle the thought of being replaced. So we got a lot of race riots that are starting, that have been started as a stepping stone toward the desires that these people have placed and put in position. All right, the next thing that was stated in the protocols, one-page summary, was that they want to use bribery and threats and blackmail in order to control people. And we see that happening a little bit with the Jeffrey Epstein. When he was killed in the prison, he had a lot of information where he could have released and incriminated a lot of high officials because of bribery, threats, and blackmail. So we have all of these things that, seem like it's falling in place. Seem like this plan is really happening. Maybe somebody got the plan and decided, hey, this sounds pretty good. Maybe we ought to try this. Then the next thing that was in the one-page summary was use Masonic lodges to attract potential public officials. So a lot of times when you have these Masonic lodges, you have that spirit of hierarchy, people that feel like, we are untouchable, we're the elites, we're among the top people in the world. So they use these Masonic lodges to attract potential public officials. So a lot of times before people get into politics and positions, they have already been primed, they have already been handpicked, because they could be utilized. So this is one of the tactics that we have found in this writing. All right, let's continue on. Then they say they want to appeal to successful people's ego. And, that's a strong thing. People sometimes when they get a little money, you can't touch them. They feel like, hey, they're on top of the world. So you can't really displace me. I believe that's what's happening with the displacement theory, the replacement theory. People feel like, hey, I can't be replaced. I've been on top too long. So you got to appeal to the successful people's egos in order to get this plan across. All right. The next thing you have is they want to appoint puppet leaders who can be controlled by blackmail. In order to be controlled by blackmail, you have to do some things that are unethical or immoral or something like that to be able to control a person with blackmail, so that they will feel, threatened. So they're using that tactic. This is a very, very a scheme type concept that's out here, full of larceny. So they want to appeal to people and get public leaders through blackmail, so they can control them, so they can puppeteer them, and use them as puppets and cause them to be able to do what they say. That's why I say that the government is really not the government. It's a front man. The government just has front men. And now a lot of their agents have infiltrated the government. They're all in the government. Okay, so this is something that they're using. Appoint puppet leaders who can be controlled by blackmail. They're appointed. They're handpicked. They're utilized. And, Biden has been a poor example of leadership, because he does things, say things, he's wandering. I believe he's kind of shifting in his mind, and he's been made a public mockery worldwide. They're mocking the man. All right. The next thing is replace royal rule with socialism, communism, and then despotism. Despotism is a type of tyranny. So we see things. We're moving through these phases rapidly and quickly. The socialists, where they've giving everybody money, people are losing the desire to work, and because they can get free money. But they're doing this thing so quickly until we're rushing to despotism. That's what we're rushing to quickly. So you got to replace a royal rule, a righteous rule, with socialists, and then communists, and then despotism. So this is what this world is really coming to. And then the next phase that the man stated it was that we want to abolish all rights and freedoms except by force, by us. So we see that happening. We don't have the freedom of speech anymore. A lot of things that is happening, you can't say, you can't speak your mind. So rights are being abolished. They're turning everything upside down. And then they had the women's rights, that they saying that the women's rights are abolished, but they use the women to usher in the feminist movement that they have. Then you have no rights. This is a concept. If you notice in this little picture, this cartoon, you've got the pyramid in the background. You got leaders at the table playing Monopoly. And the public is providing the table for them to play Monopoly. So this is a message in and of itself. The people are the underdogs in this whole thing, the slaves in this whole thing. So they're abolishing all rights and freedoms except by force, by us. So we see this thing just happening over and over again. All right, then you have what you call where they can imprison you for certain things. They could bring SWAT teams in on you if you don't participate, if you don't comply. So that's where they said, except force by us, that they can have their soldiers to come in and strong arm you and make you do what they want you to do. So this thing is really going to get serious as we move forward toward the end. So I would encourage people to really get on a solid foundation. Nobody's safe as far as being outside of the Most High. You got to get on the foundation. All right. Then the next thing, they want to sacrifice people and Jews sometime whenever it's necessary. So they don't care about their own. The agenda or the plan is first and foremost is what they're trying to do. Now, I'm just going by what the little writing said. I can't, know this knowledge. I didn't bring this information up. This is through study and through research that we find these things out, and it is said to be false. All right, then it says you want to sacrifice people. I don't know if that means literally. I don't know what that means. It have been said that you got some people that sacrifice children, and the Bible even speaks of it, that they were sacrificing their children to Molech. So I believe that it has been said that when people sacrifice children, that it gives them more power to conquer. And really, what I believe is, I'll just get back to my original thought. I believe that It's the deal that Satan tried to give Christ when he took him up on the mountain and said, all these things I'll give you. All I want you to do is fall down and worship me. I believe that is what is really has happened in this whole situation. All right, let's continue on. It says, replace religion with science and materialism. Doesn't that sound familiar? Replace religion with science. So science is becoming the new religion. Replace it with science. So if you try to come up with a worshipful idea, you want to be filtered through science. If science don't approve it or give it a stamp of approval on it, they say that it's invalid. So they want us to follow the science. Follow the science. And that sounds familiar. That happened recently when we was dealing with some issues that we were dealing with. Follow the science. So we have to be on guard about this thing. And then here's a real good one. Control the education system. Spread deception and destroy intellect. Children are coming out of school now and can't read too good, can't write too good, and they just push them on through. Then they are teaching the children this homosexuality is being taught in the school and being upheld, not just here in America but all over the world. So they're spreading deception, and they're withholding real information and real knowledge. There's a lot that is being withheld from the people in the schools. When we went to school, we didn't learn the proper things that we should have learned. We didn't learn anything about our heritage and our race except that we were supposed to be brought over on slave ships. Anything before that, they tried to make us believe we was running around in grass skirts, throwing spears at people and cooking people in big pots and different stuff like that. But that's not true. You have to read the book From Babylon to Timbuktu, and it'll give you explicit information on some of our stands before we were taken away from our homes and captured and brought into slavery. All right, let's continue on with what they're saying about the schools. They're teaching the transgender education, and they're telling our young men and young boys and little girls that y'all could use the same bathroom, and all that kind of stuff. It's just really upside down, and it's coming through the education system. Control the education system, spread deception, and destroy intellect. Now this all coming from that plan, and it sounds like it's being played out. What do you think? Then they have, it said, rewrite history to our benefit. Rewrite history to our benefit. So I knew history was boring to me when I was in school, because, we learned a lot of stuff that really wasn't the true history. The true history started way before Christopher Columbus and all what happened in America. We didn't learn. They just desecrated us as far as learning history. History has been stolen. Our history has been stolen. They didn't tell us about all of the great inventions that our people did. They just wanted us to believe that we were the home cleaners, house cleaners, and different stuff like that. The only person that I did learn about was George Washington Carver. That's the only person I learned about, black man, that I really learned about in our school. They showed us a video of George Washington Carver. But later on, I found out that they had castrated the man so that he couldn't reproduce, to keep him, under lock and key. And they were utilizing this man. I don't believe he really got any great proceeds from all of his scientific studies. that he got out of the peanut. But they are rewriting history to their benefit. And then a lot of artifacts are stolen and kept in museums all across the world. Our history has been stolen. And then also they rewrote history and tried to make us think that Columbus was the first to discover America. But these large stone heads with Negroid features about them were here long before Columbus came. And there's a good book, They Came Before Columbus, that is a good read. I would recommend that if you want to try to catch up on lost history that they have rewritten. All right. And then they want to create entertaining distractions. Now, our young people are very, very drawn into this. They want to create these entertaining distractions, how good you can dance. Every black child mostly want to be a rapper or a dancer or a basketball player, something to do with entertainment. So you got all of these things that you got to deal with. All the young girls want to resemble these people, Cardi B and who's that, Lady Gaga or whoever it is, and they want to dance and do all these kind of things that they're really are non-productive. You ain't really getting nothing out of that when you just dedicate all your time. And then a lot of times when you finally do make it, you're still a slave. You're enslaved. They utilize you and send you all the places. You don't make the big money. They'll tell you, okay, we had to spend all your money on advertising, on flights going here and bookings going there and setting up and all this, and just give you a few dollars. But unless you are your own agent, you might end up broke in the long run. All right. Then they want to corrupt minds. They want to corrupt minds with filth and corruption. And you see that all the time. You see it with the perversion. You see it with the pornography, that they want to corrupt the minds of people and just have them hours and hours on end looking at a lot of perverted things, and to mess your mind up, to keep your mind so contaminated that you cannot be productive. This is part of the plan. This is a brilliant plan. If you are looking toward deception and doing something evil, it has to come from the devil. The devil had to devise this scheme. That's what I believe. All right. Then it says we got to get people to spy on one another. I'm just breaking down some of these, this one-page summary, and just comparing it to society. Encourage people to spy on one another. So we have that going on where people spy, a citizen spy. They call in on you, and tell the authorities on you. If you see something, say something. They got all these little slogans that they use to keep us turned against one another. And we even have a scripture that backs that up. I believe it's found in Matthew 24:10. It says, "And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another." So this is one of the attributes of the system that they are ushering in. That's already here with all of this spy that's coming up. All right. And then they have a desire to keep the masses in perpetual labor. How many people that work more than one job? They've got it to where one job won't do it. Because you don't make enough money on one job. And it's going to get even worse than that now because the prices have gone up. Gas has gone up. Food prices are going up. Insurance has gone up. We got to figure out a way how we're going to get through this thing, because they're trying to manipulate us and cause us all kind of squeeze play on our finances and keep us against the wall. So the masses are being kept in perpetual labor. Okay, they want to keep you overloaded, working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, until you collapse. Working so hard until, your health starts failing you, and keep you impoverished. This is their idea. This is what they're doing, So we have to be aware of what's going on. And then they want to keep you out of work, keep you out of having the comforts of home. You got a lot of homeless encampments spreading all across the country. People living in cars and different things like that because they don't have the money to be able to take care of their needs. It's just getting ridiculous. So then they want to take possessions of all true wealth and mainly gold. We had a real estate boom here not too long ago, but it's coming to a close. I believe the bubble is beginning to burst on the real estate a boom that we just came out of. People were paying more money for houses than what the house was really worth. And we're coming into a time now where people are going to start losing houses again. So they're going to take possession of all true wealth. They're going to be seasoned houses, repossession houses. I was looking at one video clip, and they were talking about they got a lot of foreclosures on the table. It's going to be coming up soon. So they're trying to stretch this thing out, but people are losing their homes. People are losing their homes. All right. And then they want to manipulate the market. The stock market, the stock market has had a good run for a long time, but now we're starting to see the stock market wavering. And be careful, because right now a lot of the big guys are coming out of the stock market, and they're causing this volatility to fool you, to keep you in, while they're taking their money out. So now I'm not giving anybody any stock advice of what to do. You got to follow your mind, follow your lead, whatever got you into it. You have to follow that. But this is me personally. This is what I see in reference to everything that's happening in the world. So we see all of the stock markets are so volatile, and people are becoming frantic about it. So just be careful and make good decisions concerning your stock that you got, if anybody's out there with stock. Okay, I'm not giving you any kind of instruction on how to govern your stock or whatever. And then you have where they want to tax wealth. They want to impose a wealth tax on people that may inherit money or different things like that. They want to impose these wealth taxes on people. And that's getting to be a terrible thing. Where when you finally get some money, they say, "Where's our part? You owe us a part." And I was looking at something that was talking about the income tax or the IRS, and they were saying something about that it was a illegal procedure that they imposed upon the people, and nobody has really been able to see where the bill has been passed. But that's just something I was researching. So you have to have your I's dotted and your T's crossed if you're going to try to keep from paying your taxes, because, like I told you, they're going to have all of their SWAT teams and stuff to try to make you comply or to control you. Okay, let's continue on. They want to replace sound investment with speculation. And so a lot of things is happening right now. It doesn't look good. You got monopolies going on. A lot of people are being ran out of business. The mom and pop shops are really taking a beating right now. They're taking a beating. Okay, so they want to make long-term loans to governments. Now let's pause right here and think about that. Long-term loans to governments. Sound like somebody is in a higher position than the government. If the government's got to borrow money, and I heard something on the Great Reset, some of those people that are in charge of the Great Reset, they're taking over countries. Sri Lanka, I believe, is one of them, and Sri Lanka is going to be like the first domino falling, and they're going to be taking over a lot of countries, which is going to usher in the one world government. So this plan, it sounds like to me it's been practiced and repackaged over and over. I had some videos that I wanted to show, but I believe it's going to probably take a little time, too much time, to show you all of these videos. But I may take a little time and show you one because it's needed. So they're making long-term loans to governments. So governments are in trouble if they got to borrow money from the big bankers. And then, they want to give bad advice to all these people. So the world is in trouble. And the way this thing is set up, the government is really promising through the bond system. It's really just like an IOU. And it's getting to the place now where the IOUs are stacked up to the clouds, all the way up, so many of them. So something has to break. I believe this is going to usher in the breakdown in the monetary system, because the dollar is steady losing value. I've seen on one video clip where the dollar, they made a comparison from, I believe, 1907 up until 2008. The dollar had diminished. It would take like $23 to make up $1 from 1907 to 1908. So look how the dollar had diminished from that time to this time. I mean, it take $23 to make up $1. And that's pretty much true, because when I was a kid, you could buy a soda and a bag of potato chips for $0.25. So $0.25 was a lot of money in 1907. 25 cents was a lot of money. So for a child to have, that is. If a child had $0.25 back in the 1907, they felt like they were rich. So that's how money has been devalued over time. Now, from 1907 to 2008, a dollar have diminished $23. Now, 2008 up until now, the dollar is probably worth, it's probably lost $50. Probably take $50 to make $1 today. So we're in trouble. This thing is really going berserk. All right, let's continue. It says, give bad advice to governments and others. So they want to give bad advice to governments. So hold on, wait a minute. Let's talk about that. You mean you giving advice to the government? The government is supposed to be ran by the people. They're supposed to get their advice from the people if you got a democracy. Now, I understand that if you're being ran by a dictatorship, that's different. But they're giving bad advice to governments and others and people. So this thing has gotten so bad that they're giving bad advice in order for people to fail. They're giving bad advice to people and telling people to do things that are detrimental to their well-being. So this world is in a bad shape. Things are really coming in on the world. So then, as things begin to escalate, you move into what they call tyranny. That's what I see coming on. Tyranny, dictatorship, ruling by fear and different things like that. That's what I see on the horizon. And then if people fear government, there's tyranny. If government fears people, there's liberty. That was by Thomas Jefferson. So in one of the introductions, it told us the steps that will lead you to tyranny and deposition. First, socialism, then communism, then despotism. So we have all of these things that are coming. And then as it was summarized, as we come to a close on what this situation is really the goal of it all, is men will grow tired and of the unrest and surrender to false deliverance. Deliverance coming from Satan is no deliverance at all. Deliverance coming from the Antichrist is no deliverance at all. So this is their sum total of their plan. Men will grow tired of the unrest and surrender to false deliverance, Satan, and the Antichrist. So this is what you see coming. The people are into Satanism now, and they're openly into it. I did a little lesson on the CERN, the collider system that they have. And it's releasing all kind of dark matter, demons, and different things. So the world is engineered by demonic forces. People are getting all the skull tattoos over their bodies and different kind of things like that. Dark makeup, black lipstick, and and some people tattoo their face to look like a skeleton. This is a sign of the Zeitgeist, the spirit of the age. So they feel like they got to surrender to this spirit that's out here. It's really ushering in the Antichrist, ushering in Satan. That's going to really wreak havoc on the whole world. And then the other part that they had was that the world will eventually bow to Satan or the Antichrist. That's the ultimate goal that they have. The world will eventually bow to Satan, but they don't say Satan. They say a descendant of David. They say the world will eventually bow to a descendant of David. And, but we know that if you abide by the word, all of these things that I have just named, the word of God or the word of Yah, the Most High, does not support all of these things and this kind of debauchery and deception and evil doing. The word of Yah does not condone this, so it cannot be of the Most High. So the world will eventually bow to Satan or the Antichrist. So, my friend, we see it right before our eyes. People are bowing down, and the Zeitgeist spirit want to take the imagery or the thought of worshiping the Most High away from us. They want you to worship this idol worship and bow down to Satan. All right? So we see that things are really revving up. So then it says deception will eventually take over. You hear that? Deception will eventually take over the children of darkness. They will be the ones that will be controlled by Satan. So we as a people, we must stand fast. We must not allow this system to destroy our faith. So, my friend, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to play that the protocols one more time, and you can compare it to the lesson that I prepared for you today, and you can see if it coincides with what I have given you as an illustration. Here it goes one more time. The protocols, which is said to be false.
The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion in Modern English. A one-page summary. Goyim are mentally inferior to Jews and can't run their nations properly. For their sake and ours, we need to abolish their governments and replace them with a single government. This will take a long time and involve much bloodshed, but it's for a good cause. Here's what we'll need to do. Place our agents and helpers everywhere. Take control of the media and use it in propaganda for our plans. Start fights between different races, classes, and religions. Use bribery, threats, and blackmail to get our way. Use Freemasonic lodges to attract potential public officials. Appeal to successful people's egos. Appoint puppet leaders who can be controlled by blackmail. Replace royal rule with socialist rule, then communism, then despotism. Abolish all rights and freedoms except the right by force by us. Sacrifice people, including Jews sometimes, when necessary. Eliminate religion. Replace it with science and materialism. Control the education system to spread deception and destroy intellect. Rewrite history to our benefit. Create entertaining distractions. Corrupt minds with filth and perversion. Encourage people to spy on one another. Keep the masses in poverty and perpetual labor. Take possession of all true wealth, property, and especially gold. Use gold to manipulate the markets, causing depressions, etc. Introduce a progressive tax on wealth. Replace sound investment with speculation. Make long-term interest-bearing loans to governments. Give bad advice to governments and everyone else. Eventually the Goyim will be so angry with their governments, because we'll blame them for the resulting mess, that they'll gladly have us take over. We will then appoint a descendant of David to be the king of the world, and the remaining Goyim will bow down and sing his praises. Everyone will live in peace and obedient order under his glorious rule.